What if I told you that peace isn't hiding in the mountains or locked away in silence? It's in your next breath. It's in the next choice you make. And it's waiting for you every single day. We live in a world that's constantly screaming at us: notifications, deadlines, traffic, expectations. And somewhere in the chaos, we forget what calm even feels like. But let me tell you this: a calm mind is not a luxury, it's a weapon. It's how you reclaim your power in a world trying to drain it. And the best part, it's not about changing your entire life, it's about changing moments. Today, I'll give you 7 simple daily habits. Habits that may look small, but they're designed to bring you back to you. Let's begin. The moment your eyes open in the morning is sacred. It's the only time in your day when your mind is untouched, free from noise, pressure, comparison, and demand. But what most people do, they reach for their phone. Instantly, the outside world crashes in. Emails, messages, headlines, social media feeds. They flood your brain before you've even had a chance to connect with yourself. This habit might seem harmless, but it's the silent assassin of peace. You're surrendering your attention, your clarity, and your emotional stability to a device that thrives on distraction. When you wake up and immediately scroll, your brain enters reaction mode. You're not choosing your thoughts anymore. They're being chosen for you. That one email from your boss, that news headline, that filtered photo of someone else's life, it all begins to shape your mood, your thoughts, and even your sense of worth. You're no longer grounded in your life. You're floating in someone else's. This is how anxiety starts its engine for the day. Not because your life is stressful, but because you handed your peace over before even brushing your teeth. Your mornings set the emotional tone for the rest of your day. The first 20 minutes after waking up are when your subconscious mind is most impressionable. This is when your brain is switching from theta to alpha brainwaves, a powerful transition where ideas stick, emotions deepen, and your internal compass gets calibrated. Do you really want to fill that window with likes, opinions, and breaking news? Or would you rather use it to check in with yourself? Imagine starting your day with your own breath instead of a screen. Imagine feeling your body, hearing your thoughts, and being present with your life before anyone else intrudes. There is power in reclaiming those first few moments of your day. You don't need to meditate for an hour or chant mantras on a mountain. Just don't pick up your phone. Give yourself 10 minutes. 10 minutes to be human before being digital. Sit with your thoughts. Stretch. Hydrate. Write down a few things you want to focus on. Or simply look out the window and be. This isn't about being productive. It's about being present. When you stop feeding your brain a diet of digital chaos, something beautiful begins to happen: clarity. What you'll notice is that without the phone, your mornings begin to feel lighter. You're not as rushed. Your mind doesn't feel pulled in 10 directions. before you've even stepped out of bed. There's a quiet strength that builds when you learn to start your day on your terms. It's not about rejecting technology, it's about creating boundaries. It's about reminding yourself that you decide how your day begins, not an algorithm. And once you experience the peace of a screen-free morning, going back to the old way will feel like betrayal to your own mind. Most importantly, when you stop starting your day with your phone, you begin to rebuild something we're all starving for: inner control. Not the kind that's loud or visible, but the quiet, unshakable kind. The kind that keeps you centered when life gets noisy. The kind that reminds you that your thoughts are yours to lead, not follow. This one simple change may feel small, but it's not. It's foundational. It's the difference between being driven by life or being dragged by it. And once you make this a daily habit, you don't just calm your mind, you take it back. We do it 20,000 times a day, yet most of us rarely notice it. Breathing, the most natural, essential act of life, has become so automatic, so unconscious, that we've forgotten its power. But the truth is, your breath is not just a biological function. It's a tool, a bridge between your body and your mind. And when used with intention, it becomes one of the most powerful habits you can adopt to calm your nervous system, reset your thoughts, and find clarity in the middle of chaos. The way you breathe is the way you live. Shallow breath, shallow peace. Deep breath, deep presence. In the middle of stress, your body reacts before your mind does. Your heart rate spikes, your muscles tighten, and your thoughts spiral. But here's what's often overlooked. Your breath shifts too. It becomes quick, shallow, and irregular. You're signaling to your body that something is wrong, even when you're just reading an email or stuck in traffic. That unconscious breath feeds your anxiety. But when you reverse that pattern, when you slow your breathing, you tell your body a different story. You're safe, and your mind listens. Calm is not found by accident. It's created one breath at a time. Intentional breathing is the fastest way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for rest, digestion, and repair. With just a few slow, deep breaths, you can shift from fight or flight into rest and restore. You don't need medication. You don't need a therapist in that moment. You need your lungs, your attention, and your willingness to pause. Try this. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and pause again for 4. Just a minute of that can shift your mental state entirely. This is science, not spirituality. It's real, measurable, and immediate. The beauty of breath work is that it's always available. You don't need a special space or time. You can breathe consciously while standing in line, before entering a meeting, sitting in traffic, or lying awake at night. It's a tool you carry with you everywhere. And the more often you use it, the more your body learns what peace feels like. Over time, your baseline stress lowers, Your reactions soften. You start to respond to life instead of reacting to it. Breath becomes your anchor, not just in the storms, but in the stillness too. And here's the deeper truth. Conscious breathing brings you back to this moment. Anxiety lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. But the breath lives only in the now. Every time you bring your focus to your inhale and your exhale, you're stepping into presence. You're stepping out of stories, worries, and expectations. You're reminding yourself that right now, in this exact moment, you're alive, you're here, and that simple awareness can be more healing than hours of overthinking. It reconnects you to your body, to your surroundings, to yourself. Most people spend their entire lives chasing peace outside of themselves through success, money, distractions, or relationships, never realizing that peace was always inside, waiting to be felt. Your breath is the doorway, and the key is awareness, not perfection. You don't need to become a yogi or sit cross-legged for hours. You just need to care enough to pause, to slow down, to breathe like it matters, because it truly, deeply does. The breath is not just what keeps you alive, it's what can help you truly live. Mornings are not just the start of the day, they're the launch pad for your mind, your mood, and your momentum. And yet, most people treat their mornings like a fire drill. They wake up late, rush through routines, gulp down coffee, scroll through their phones, and dive headfirst into urgency. But here's the truth. The first few minutes of your day shape everything that follows. If your morning is chaotic, your mind will be too. That's why creating a simple, intentional morning ritual, even just 10 minutes, can radically shift the way you think, feel, and respond for the rest of the day. A ritual is not the same as a routine. A routine is mechanical. It's brushing your teeth, making your bed, checking your schedule. A ritual, on the other hand, is sacred. It's something you do for yourself, not because you have to, but because you want to show up as your best self. It's not about efficiency, it's about alignment. When you commit just 10 minutes every morning to a personal ritual, you send a powerful message to your brain. I matter. My peace matters. My direction matters. That alone can shift your mental state from reactive to intentional. This ritual doesn't have to be complex or time-consuming. It can be a quiet cup of tea with no distractions. 5 minutes of journaling. Reading a page from a book that feeds your soul. A short walk outside. Breathing exercises. Stretching. Listening to calming music. Even sitting in stillness with your own thoughts. The ritual itself is less important than the intention behind it. It's not about adding another task to your to-do list. It's about creating space in your day that belongs solely to you before the demands of the world come knocking. And what happens when you protect that space? You begin to lead your day instead of chase it. You're not thrown off by the first frustrating email or the unexpected traffic. You've already anchored yourself. You've already created mental clarity, emotional stability, and inner stillness. That 10 minutes becomes your foundation, and from that place of calm, you make better decisions. You speak with more patience. You handle stress with more grace. This isn't self-indulgence. This is mental training. Just like you wouldn't skip a workout if you wanted to get physically strong, don't skip this if you want to stay mentally strong. The most successful, grounded, emotionally balanced people in the world have one thing in common. They protect their mornings because they understand that how you enter the day matters just as much as what you do in it. That short window in the morning is when your subconscious mind is most open. You can feed it fear and distraction, or you can feed it clarity and peace. A ritual gives you the chance to program your mind before anyone else does. And when you do this consistently, you begin to see the ripple effect. Your days get lighter, your reactions slower, your purpose sharper. 10 minutes may not seem like much, but over time it becomes a defining habit. It teaches you discipline without force, presence without pressure. It becomes the difference between being pulled by life or stepping into it with grounded energy. In a world that constantly demands your attention, a morning ritual is how you reclaim it. It's how you say, I choose how I feel. I choose how I start. I choose what energy I bring. And that choice, made daily, is how transformation begins. Your mind is your most sacred space. And yet, most people guard their phones with more care than their thoughts. Think about it. Would you let a stranger walk into your home and dump trash in your living room? Of course not. But every day, we allow negativity, fear, gossip, noise, and manipulation to enter our minds through what we watch, read, listen to, and scroll through. The content you consume is not harmless. It becomes your beliefs, your moods, your mindset. And unless you begin to guard your mind like a fortress, the world will fill it with everything that weakens you. Every piece of information you absorb has weight. It either lifts you or it drags you down. That one headline filled with fear, that podcast laced with outrage, that social media post that makes you feel not enough, they all leave fingerprints on your mind. Over time, those fingerprints shape your worldview. They influence how you think, how you speak, how you feel about yourself and others. This is not about being overly sensitive. It's about being selective. Because the inputs you allow in will quietly become the soundtrack of your inner dialogue. And the quality of that inner dialogue is what decides whether your mind feels like a battlefield or a sanctuary. You can't control everything that comes your way, but you can control what you allow to stay. That's where boundaries come in. Start asking yourself, is this content feeding my peace or my anxiety? Is this conversation deepening my awareness or just stirring up drama? Is this person's energy helping me grow or pulling me into chaos? Guarding your mind means becoming aware of these questions and then having the courage to make decisions that protect your peace. Sometimes that means unfollowing people. Sometimes it means turning off the news. Sometimes it means saying no to conversations that go nowhere but down. One of the most powerful habits you can build is a mental filter. A conscious awareness of what you allow to enter your psychological space. Just like a fortress has gates and guards, your mind needs filters and standards. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every story deserves your emotional investment. In a world full of noise, learning to curate your inputs is an act of self-respect. It's not about living in a bubble. It's about choosing clarity over confusion, nourishment over noise, and intentionality over impulse. And here's the deeper layer. When you guard your mind, you start to elevate your life. You begin to attract different conversations, different energy, different people, because your standard shifts. You no longer tolerate content or company that poisons your peace. You begin to move from mental clutter to mental clarity, from reaction to reflection, from noise to knowing. And the more you practice this, the more you start to realize that true calm isn't found by escaping the world. It's found by protecting your inner world from being shaped by default. In a society that constantly fights for your attention, guarding your mind is not just wise, it's revolutionary. It's how you take ownership of your mental health. It's how you stop letting fear, comparison, and negativity rent space in your head. When your mind is clear, your life becomes clear. When your mind is strong, your emotions follow. When your mind is protected, your decisions become intentional. You become grounded, focused, and deeply present. So be ruthless with what you allow in, not because you're fragile, but because your peace is too powerful to be sacrificed. We live in a world that never stops talking. There's noise everywhere, phones buzzing, notifications popping, people constantly filling space with words. Silence has become rare, even uncomfortable. We're trained to fill every empty moment with something: music, scrolling, small talk, podcasts, endless to-do lists. But here's the truth: most people overlook silence isn't a void. It's not empty. It's powerful. Intentional silence is where clarity begins. It's where your nervous system resets. And learning to practice micro silence throughout your day might be the single most underrated habit for calming your mind. Micro silence doesn't require a retreat in the mountains or hours of meditation. It's about finding pockets of stillness in the middle of real life. Just 60 seconds of intentional quiet. Just 1 minute of pausing the external world to return to your internal one. That's it. Before a meeting, between phone calls, after parking your car, before replying to a stressful message. Those are moments you can claim. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, shut out the noise. You don't need a perfect environment, just a willing mind. And what you'll notice is this: even a single minute of silence can feel like oxygen for a noisy brain. Why is this so powerful? Because silence creates space, and space is where awareness lives. When you pause, even briefly, you step out of reactivity and into observation. You notice the tension in your shoulders. You hear your own thoughts without the volume of the outside world drowning them out. You start to see the patterns. What triggers you, what calms you, what matters. In a world full of speed, silence is how you slow down enough to actually see yourself. And that kind of self-awareness is the foundation of peace. Most people wait until burnout to seek silence. They push until they crash, then take a weekend off and call it self-care. But micro silence isn't about escape. It's about rhythm. It's how you build sustainable calm in your daily life. Instead of running on fumes all week and collapsing on Sunday, you pause throughout the day and recharge in real time. These short silences become like checkpoints. They don't interrupt your productivity, they protect it. They sharpen your focus, reset your energy, and regulate your emotions. Just like your body needs rest between workouts, your mind needs quiet between demands. Micro silence also reconnects you to the present moment. Anxiety pulls you into the future. Regret pulls you into the past. But silence pulls you into now. It reminds you that in this exact second, you are safe, you are breathing, you are alive, and sometimes that reminder alone is enough to loosen the grip of stress. It's not about stopping your thoughts, it's about making space around them. Space where you can breathe, reflect, and choose your next step with intention instead of impulse. The most grounded people in the world don't have fewer problems, they have more pause. They've trained themselves to create silence before reacting, before speaking, before deciding. That habit of pausing, even for a breath, is where strength lives. It's how you catch yourself before spiraling. It's how you respond with clarity instead of emotion. It's how you lead your life instead of being dragged by it. Micro silence is not a luxury, it's a skill. And once you learn how to weave it into your day, you stop being controlled by the noise and start owning your peace. The human brain is hardwired to scan for problems. It's a survival mechanism, something we inherited from our ancestors who needed to stay alert to threats in order to stay alive. But in today's world, that same wiring often leaves us constantly on edge, focusing on everything that's wrong, missing, or broken. The result? Chronic stress, mental fatigue, emotional overwhelm. But there's a simple, powerful shift you can make. A shift that won't cost $1, doesn't take hours, and can literally reshape your brain over time. Practicing gratitude. Not as a fluffy concept, but as a mental filter, a way of seeing, thinking, and choosing. Gratitude isn't about ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing what you focus on. It's not a denial of reality, it's a deepening of it. Because while challenges exist, so does beauty. While stress is real, so is support. While life may feel overwhelming, it's also offering moments of peace, connection, and meaning every single day. The problem is we don't see them, not because they're not there, but because we're not looking. Gratitude is how we retrain the mind to notice. It's how we stop being consumed by the 2% that's wrong and start honoring the 98% that's quietly working. When you begin using gratitude as a filter, your internal dialogue changes. Instead of waking up and immediately thinking about what needs to get done or what went wrong yesterday, you start your day by asking, what's good right now? That single question can reroute your thoughts away from anxiety and toward appreciation. It can be something big, a loved one, your health, a second chance, or something simple, clean sheets, a warm drink. The fact that you woke up at all. When you train your mind to see what's right, you weaken the power of what's wrong. One of the most practical ways to build this filter is to create a daily gratitude ritual. It doesn't need to be elaborate. Keep a notebook next to your bed. Every night before you sleep, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They can repeat, they can be messy. The point isn't perfection, the point is presence. This simple habit does more than just make you feel good. It literally rewires your brain. Neuroscience shows that regular gratitude practice increases dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good chemicals, while decreasing stress hormones like cortisol. Over time, you stop looking for reasons to be grateful and start seeing them automatically. Gratitude also changes your relationships. When you make a habit of focusing on what others are doing right, rather than constantly pointing out what's wrong, your energy shifts. People feel it. You feel it. Your communication becomes warmer, your expectations become more realistic, and your appreciation becomes contagious. You stop taking people for granted. You begin to see the effort behind the actions, and this awareness deepens connection, respect, and trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Because self-gratitude matters too. The way you speak to you becomes more compassionate, more encouraging, more kind. In a world that markets lack, comparison, and dissatisfaction, choosing gratitude is an act of rebellion. It's how you protect your mind from being hijacked by negativity. It's how you train your nervous system to return to calm again and again. When gratitude becomes your filter, life doesn't suddenly become perfect, but your experience of it changes. You start noticing beauty where you once saw burdens. You start feeling full where you once felt empty. And most of all, you begin to realize that peace isn't something you chase. It's something you notice. Gratitude is how you open your eyes to the peace that's been waiting for you all along. The way you end your day matters just as much as how you begin it. Yet for most people, nighttime has become a dumping ground, a chaotic blend of unresolved thoughts, unfinished tasks, overstimulation, and digital distraction. We crash into bed, not with peace, but with tabs open in our mind. And we wonder why we wake up tired, anxious, or already behind. But here's the truth. Your mind needs closure before it can rest. Just like you lock your doors before going to sleep, you need to close the loops in your brain. Without that closure, your sleep becomes survival, not recovery. We spend all day absorbing information, conversations, decisions, energy. And without a deliberate process to release that mental weight, it piles up. That's why you lie down, close your eyes, and suddenly remember emails you forgot to send or replay awkward moments from the day. Your brain is still running. It hasn't been told it's safe to shut down. That's where an evening closure ritual becomes essential. It's not about perfection, it's about completion. It's how you tell your mind, the day is done. You've done enough. You are safe to rest now. Creating closure doesn't have to take long. Just 10 to 15 minutes of intentional unwinding can make all the difference. Start by turning off stimulation. That means stepping away from your phone, your emails, and your TV at least 30 minutes before bed. The brain interprets bright screens and fast information as a reason to stay alert. So give yourself the gift of dim lights, calm sounds, and slow thoughts. Next, reflect. Ask yourself, what went well today? What am I proud of? What can I let go of? These questions help your mind settle by giving it resolution rather than rumination. Another powerful practice is to brain dump. Write down anything that's still circling in your mind, loose ends, tomorrow's tasks, things you don't want to forget. Get it out of your head and onto paper. You're not solving it now, you're containing it. This act alone lowers mental tension. Then, if there's something you're holding emotionally, stress, frustration, guilt, acknowledge it. Even speak it out loud if you need to. Today was hard, but I showed up. I made mistakes, but I'm learning. Closure doesn't mean everything went perfectly. It means you've made peace with it. And then bring gratitude into your final thoughts. Even on the hardest days, there's always something, a kind word, a quiet moment, a small win, a breath you're still breathing. Gratitude helps shift your nervous system out of stress and into rest. It creates a softer mental space where rest doesn't feel like an escape. It feels earned. This emotional softening is what tells your body you don't need to fight anymore. You don't need to plan. You just need to be still. And that's when real rest begins, not just physical, but mental, emotional, and spiritual. Ending your day with closure is how you reclaim your peace. It's how you break the cycle of carrying today's chaos into tomorrow's beginning. It doesn't mean every problem is solved. It means you're no longer carrying it as you sleep. You've created space between who you are today and who you get to be tomorrow. And when you start practicing this daily, you stop surviving your nights and start healing through them. Because deep down, rest is not a break from life. It's what allows you to show up for life with clarity, strength, and calm. You don't have to move to the mountains. You don't need to escape your life. You need to show up for it with presence, with power, with peace. These habits, they aren't tasks. They are acts of rebellion against a world that profits from your stress. They are how you take your mind back, not once a year, not once a month, but every single day, because the calm you're chasing is already within you. You just have to let it rise